By substitution. First thing that you're going to do is make sure at least one equation is solved for x or y. I'm having a hard time writing. And then we're going to substitute, which is a fancy word for like replace or plug in. You've heard me say those things before. Substitute, replace x equals or y equals, whichever one you're dealing with, into the other equation and solve. So substitute and solve. And then the last thing I need you to do is plug in to get the other variable, because there's two variables here. And write as a point. I know that's a lot. X comma y. Here we have negative 3x plus 8 equals y, and we have 2x plus 3 equals y. Both of the equations are solved for y equals, so we don't have to we made sure at least one, we actually have two. So what we can do is say, okay, 2x plus 3 is equal to y. So I can say that instead of writing y, I can just say that they are equal to one another. So I'm going to take that 2x plus 3, and instead of keeping it where it is right now, I'm going to put it in the spot for y, because it's also equal to y. So I write this as negative 2x plus 3 equals, because I'm just replaced the y value, 3x plus 8. All I'm doing is like changing it out. Since they were both equal to the same thing, I can set them equal to each other. Negative 3x equals 8, or negative 3x plus 8. So now we're going to solve this equation just like you would any other time. So draw your balancing line. So now we're on the spot we're substituting. We just substituted for y, and now we're going to solve. So let's solve it out. I'm going to take away the negative 3x. So I'm going to add it because it's negative. That'll take it away. Now I've got 5x plus 3 equals 8. Xavier, what do I do next? Okay. Subtract it because it's adding. So it goes away. 5x equals 5. Divide by 5. And x is equal to 1, right? Okay, I'm going to circle it, but I'm not going to box it because it's not the final answer. Here's the thing with these with a system, right? We've got x and y. So you found what x is equal to, which is the first part of the point, but you have to find the second part of the point. So we need the y value. It doesn't matter what you choose. You can choose either of these equations. I'm going to choose the one that's positive. So y equals 2x plus 3. I want to know what y is equal to, so I'm going to plug in to get the other variable and write it as a point. So where I see the x, I'm going to put a 1, because I just found that x was equal to 1. So I'm replacing it right here. y is equal to 2 times 1 plus 3. What's 2 times 1? 2. So y is equal to 5. So you get the first variable, plug in for the second one. Let's write our final answer as a point because it's a graph after all. 1, 5. That's your final answer. It doesn't matter that they're equal to different things. So here's what we're going to think about this time. One of them is x equals and one of them is y equals, so you can't set them equal to each other. What you can do though, so I know that x is equal to that. So I'm going to take this part right here, what x is equal to, and put it in the top equation where I see an x, because it says x equals that. So what I'm trying to do is combine the two equations, that way I can actually solve it. So let's go ahead and write out our new one. So we're going to keep y equals over there. Y is equal to 2. Instead of writing x, I write this, because that's what x is equal to. Negative y plus 2 plus 5. So the only thing that's changed is what the x is, how we say it. This is the part we just solve it out. So let's distribute. Whoop. Y is equal to negative 2y. 2 times 2 is 4. And then bring down your plus 5. Don't forget about it. We do not distribute to the 5 because it's not in the parentheses. We got some like terms we should probably combine. Over here. Okay, let's think about what to do next. We're trying to solve for y. We've already simplified by distributing and combining like terms. Now we probably need to isolate, so what should I do? Add 2y, because then I'll have variables on one side. So now it's 3y is equal to 9 is all I have left. If we divide by 3, now we get y is equal to 3. This canceled out. 9 divided by 3. I'm going to choose the bottom equation because it's already x equals. X is equal to negative y plus 2. Okay, we just found out that y was equal to what? 3. So where I see the y, I'm going to put in 3. I'm going to substitute it in. Well, negative 1 times 3 is negative 3. What's negative 3 plus 2? Negative 1. So x is equal to negative 1. Write your final answer as a point. X comma y. So x is negative 1, y is 3. Now y is equal to x plus 6. So I'm going to take that and put it where I see a y. Into the other equation. So 3x plus 5y. No, not 5y. Now it's 5x plus 6. Because y was equal to x plus 6, and that's all equal to negative 10. Go ahead and solve that out. Combine like terms. subtract 30. And divide by 8. Did you guys get -5? Okay. So we're going to choose this bottom equation, y is equal to x plus 6. Let's write up here. What's x equal to? -5. So where I see a x, I'm going to put a -5. And what's -5 plus 6? I'm at -5 and I go up 6. 1. So y is equal to 1. Write your answer as a point. What should my point be, Francesca? X, Y.
Oh, -5, 1.
Good. -5, comma, 1. We're going to solve this second equation here. I'm going to maybe like rewrite it. X minus 7y equals -1. I know. Thank you. We're going to add 7y. Because that'll make it just x equals something. So we move that over. We're left with x equals, are these like terms? -1, 7y? No. So -1 plus 7y is how we're going to have to write it. Okay, now we have an equation that works. So now you can plug that in to that first equation. So this part can go right here where x is equal to that. So put that where x is. So if you don't see one that's solved for a variable, you have to get one solved for a variable. Let's go ahead and write out what our equation would be. 8 times -1 plus 7y minus 3y equals -8. Distribute, combine like terms, solve. Combine like terms. Let's add 8. Okay, -8 plus 8 is 0. So if you divide by 53, 0 divided by 53 is 0. So y is equal to 0. The last thing that we need is x. I'm going to use the one that's already solved. X equals -1 plus 7y. And where I see a y, I'm going to put a 0. 7 times 0 is 0. So x is equal to -1.
Where did you get -1 plus 7y?
-1, 0.